What's up, guys? Welcome to the WWE Fight Pit here on House Call Sports. My name is Sam HT, and today we're going to be doing our predictions, or at least I'm going to be doing our predictions for Money in the Bank this Saturday live from Toronto, Canada at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Before we get started, let's get a quick word from our sponsor, Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats is the most trustworthy and easy to navigate ticketing website, and they have reliable and rewarding tickets with a 100% buyer's guarantee, which means your transaction will be safe and secure. You will get full service customer care and be compensated for any canceled events, and it's got the only ticket rewards program around. All that means is that any WWE event you guys want to see, Vivid Seats has got you covered. Go hit the link in our description and go sit vividly. Now, with Money in the Bank happening this weekend, I think it's best that we really analyze the storylines heading into Money in the Bank. A particular one that I want to go over is Money in the Bank, the men's match. We're going to go over that prediction first. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a whole lot of storylines going on regarding each and every one of these competitors. Let's start with Drew McIntyre. Look, it's no secret that Drew McIntyre is doing the best work of his career. I mean, the fact that he has everybody engaged solely because of like his storyline with CM Punk, I think that's a testament to how important he is. And I think most importantly, the fact that he really doesn't need a title to stay relevant. I personally think that he's been the second best male active superstar on the roster behind maybe Cody Rhodes. And the fact that, and that in my opinion, speaks to the fact that Drew McIntyre has been that good. The only problem is him being in the Money in the Bank ladder match kind of singles him out because I don't think he should win Money in the Bank. I think Money in the Bank should go to somebody right now who isn't in a storyline. We'll get to that in a second. Drew McIntyre right now, let's face it, he's in the middle of a storyline with CM Punk, and they're probably going to end their feud right at SummerSlam. Or maybe it's just going to be the first of many other matches that come with that feud. With that being said, I do think Drew McIntyre does get a really good showing in this match. I definitely think that CM Punk is going to have some kind of interference in this match. I don't think Drew McIntyre should win for the simple fact that it just wouldn't make sense for him to win Money in the Bank and cash it in that night. I think Money in the Bank really should be used as a long-term tool to really build a star. Much like they did with Damian Priest, when he ended up cashing in at WrestleMania 40. And right now, that title is doing wonders for Damian Priest, and we'll get to him later on in the video. Drew McIntyre, I definitely think makes this Money in the Bank ladder match more interesting. I think he adds the star power, but I would not pick him whatsoever to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. LA Knight is one of those superstars who right now is still over, despite the fact that he was even more over close to a year ago. Around this time last year, everybody was talking about how LA Knight was going to be a future champion and how LA Knight is the future face of the company. But unfortunately, he hasn't been really rewarded as the future face of the company. Yes, he's been treated like it, but has he been rewarded? I wouldn't say so. With that being said, Logan Paul and LA Knight are in the middle of a feud, and that inherently leaves Logan Paul completely out of the loop, in my opinion. I think LA Knight right now is going to again be there because he adds so much star power to an already stacked Money in the Bank match. I think LA Knight brings a lot to this match, and evidently he will get screwed over by Logan Paul, and that's going to lead to their match over at SummerSlam. Next up, we have Chad Gable. Chad Gable has resurged. It's no secret. He has resurged from the ashes. He is one of the most entertaining acts on Raw right now. And his heel turn has done wonders for his career. Now, the only problem is that Chad Gable is kind of stuck in the middle of sort of a feud, sort of not a feud with the Wyatts. And since he's in a feud with the Wyatts, I really doubt that they're going to just have him win the Money in the Bank briefcase and have him kind of just like scramble around with the briefcase while feuding with the Wyatts. I don't necessarily think that Chad Gable will really... I don't think Chad Gable will necessarily have a bad showing, but I do think that he is going to lose outright. I don't think the Wyatts are going to get involved. I think he is going to just lose straight up. even though it would be cool to see the Wyatts really interrupt this concept of a ladder match and see if maybe we can get some like cool spot where they put Chad through a ladder. While that seems really nice, I think they should just have Chad lose just straight up and then continue that storyline over Monday Night Raw the very next night. Next, we have Andrade. Now, Andrade is kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place because, quite frankly, I don't think WWE really knows what to do with him. Yes, throwing him in Money in the Bank really does help with him. It really adds to star power, but he has really no momentum and no reason to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. Andrade, quite frankly, isn't ready to hold Money in the Bank, and I still feel like they're trying to really find a feud for him. I think what's going to happen is he's going to turn heel at some point. I think him as a babyface, it was cool for a little bit, but I think eventually he works better as a heel, and I think he works way better with a manager. Only problem is that I don't think that he's going to get one, so it's best to just turn him heel and have him just be a monster in the ring. With that being said, I think Andrade is going to have a good showing, but I doubt he's ever going to win. My bad. Restart that. With that being said, I think Andrade is going to have a good showing, and I do think that he's going to be one of the big players that competes for a mid-card title down the line. Right now, I just think he's added to Money in the Bank to really expose him as a star and put him in a PLE. With Carmelo Hayes, look, it's no secret. His future's bright. In the ring, he's fantastic. He's improving on the mic every week. He's just too young to really give the Money in the Bank briefcase to. I do think that it would look great on him. Melo in the Bank has a phenomenal ring to it. However, I just don't think that right now is Melo's time. I think Melo's time is way down the line. He's a really young cat, and I think that if you give him the Money in the Bank contract right now, I feel like that kind of stunts his growth, and we're kind of going a bit too quick with the process. Carmelo is easily the next future star in WWE. He's gotten the nod from John Cena, and he's gotten the nod from Undertaker. It's very evident that they are looking at him as the future of WWE. The future's not now, though, and that future is our winner, and that winner is going to be Jey Uso. It makes no logical sense for WWE to build Jey Uso this much only for him to lose. I just think that there's no way he is a top star in the company and you're not rewarding him. It feels like every big match he's losing. This match, in my opinion, I'm not saying it's a must win because I do think other competitors do fit the Money in the Bank role, specifically Chad Gable, but Jey Uso, point blank, period, is the guy. And he's going to be the guy that, in my opinion, is going to be what, like his tagline says, a main event player. Jey Uso's that guy. And I would be remiss if he won the Money in the Bank ladder match and we just ended up, if he lost, redo that. I'd be remiss if he lost the Money in the Bank ladder match. At this point, where does he really go? He's not in the SmackDown brand. He can't be involved with the Bloodline storyline. I just don't think right now you can really I don't think right now you can afford not giving Jey Uso the briefcase at this point. Give him the briefcase. Let him run with it. He's super over with the fans. You guys saw his entrance on Raw. Give him the briefcase. I think Jey Uso is going to be your Money in the Bank winner here in 2024. Now, this is going to be the next match on the card, in my opinion. I think it's going to be Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn. Look, there comes a time where you find a generational talent. You find a generational talent, and he cannot be denied. And I think Braun Breaker is that generational talent. And I think it would be a grave mistake not executing on the fact that he's already very popular. He's already so explosive in the ring. He's already great on the mic. I think it would be a disservice to not reward him immediately. Look, I get it. Sami Zayn is one of those guys where, like, you know, he overcomes the big guy. I don't think in this case that should happen. I think if you want to establish Braun Breaker as a main event player already, look, he's already more polished than any of the NXT call-ups that are up right now, aside from maybe Ilya Dragunov. There's no way that you build him up to be this beast, that you build him up to be this absolutely freak absolute freak of nature, right? You can't build him up like that and have him lose to Sami Zayn. Don't make him lose, period. I don't want a DQ. I don't want him to get pinned clean. I don't want him to get pinned and some shenanigans happen. He cannot lose, period. He needs to win. And this is one of those moments where you can create a star. You could elevate that Intercontinental Championship more than ever. Braun Breaker can do that, and I don't think it's a good decision for you to try to develop something different. This is one of those things where you strike while it's hot. Braun Breaker is hot, and I think that he should be the guy to really carry that Intercontinental Championship and have a banger after banger match. No pun intended to Sheamus. I love Sami Zayn. I do think he should take the pin. I think it should be clean. And I'm almost asking for a squash match. That's how much I think you got to create this narrative that Braun Breaker really is unstoppable. I think that all goes away if you have Sami Zayn pin him clean. I think Braun Breaker has to win the Intercontinental Championship this Saturday. Next up, I think we have the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, I believe. Yeah, I think these competitors are going to be so absolutely phenomenal. But there is one I feel like is a black sheep, and this is where I'm going to go over each and every one of these competitors. Zoe Stark. And there's nothing against Zoe Stark. I have nothing against her. I do think she's a phenomenal in-ring talent. I think she's one of the best in that WWE roster, actually. The problem is that I don't think she's really found herself as a character, and I don't think she really has the charisma or the mic work to really excel as a character by herself right now. Hence why I think she's the black sheep of this entire Money in the Bank roster right now. I think Zoe Stark right now, if I'm being completely honest, should not have been in this match. Now, I get it. I think Zoe Stark is really in here to do the cool spots. She's really in there to do like the cool stuff that you see in a Money in the Bank ladder match. And I get that, and I'm okay with that. And if you're going to put her in there for that case, that's completely fine. However, I do think narratively, it would have made more sense to have Dakota Kai in there. Dakota Kai is one of the most, in my opinion, underrated talents on the women's roster right now. It feels like she should have had a big opportunity already, but they've kind of been holding her back. I think that's mostly because they don't know if she can stay healthy. I feel like you have to give her that opportunity. Now, it's not going to come at Money in the Bank because they have already made that decision. But I do think that it does matter that But I do think that down the line, you got to give Dakota Kai a shot to really excel as a single star or even as a star, period. Next up, we have my favorite to win the WWE Women's Money in the Bank, and that's Chelsea Green. Look, Chelsea Green is in the prime of her career. She has the charisma. She has the in-ring talent. I think there's no better person as of right now in this match that can excel and really, put prestige on the Women's Money in the Bank like Chelsea Green. She's obnoxious. She's annoying. And that's a heel. That's exactly what we need as a heel. We don't have many talents like that on the roster. It feels like we have so many just dominant heels, so many flashy heels, but not really like annoying heels. Everybody likes Tiffy Time. Granted, nobody really likes Nia Jax, but Nia Jax is like this big, badass woman. Like, I don't think that she really fits what Chelsea Green gives, and that's an annoying, snively heel as your Miss Money in the Bank. And I think she fits that mold 1000% perfectly. She's my pick to win Miss Money in the Bank, no question. I think you got to strike right now. I don't think anybody else really fits. But if there's somebody else they do want to give it to, I think Naomi is another good spot. Look, Naomi right now is in a pretty weird position, right? She's a baby face. She's friends with Bayley. This is honestly a really good opportunity to start to develop a story with Bayley and her being the women's champion and Naomi being her friend with the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's kind of similar to what they did with Judgment Day when Damian Priest had the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then you had, Finn Balor competing for the World Heavyweight Championship, and that created some great storylines with him, Seth Rollins, and Damian Priest. I think you can really develop that kind of storyline by giving Naomi Money in the Bank. I think Naomi is a good fit as well, but quite frankly, I do think that they are going to really rely on Nia Jax winning at SummerSlam. I do think they really look at Nia Jax really highly. They view Nia Jax very highly on the totem pole. Quite frankly, I think that they're going to crown her at SummerSlam. She was Queen of the Ring. She deserved it, and the work that she's been putting in is great. But enough about Nia Jax for a second. I feel like, we're talking too much about a person that's not even in the match. Next is Ilya Dragunov. No, I'm sorry. Next is Lyra Valkyria. Now, Lyra Valkyria is actually over already with the WWE Universe, which I'm very happy for. I was scared that when we heard those little chants, I was scared that they were not gonna really do anything, but the crowd has really caught on to that. And she's starting to get a little popular with the fan base. Now, Lyra Valkyria definitely is a star. She 1000% is, but her time is not now. Similar to Carmelo Hayes, her time is going to come much later. And I don't think she needs the Money in the Bank. I don't think her personality really fits the Money in the Bank briefcase. Someone who does, though, is Tiffany Stratton. And Tiffany Stratton is a very, very, very talented individual. Tiffany Stratton is already over with the crowd. She's already doing dastardly heel work with Nia Jax. She's already made a connection. Now it's all about what the next step is. Now, a lot of people think that Tiffany Stratton with this Money in the Bank briefcase would make a lot of money. And I do agree. And I do think that she would be my second favorite to win this Money in the Bank briefcase. And truth be told, if it's Chelsea Green or Tiffany Stratton, I'm not mad at any of them. However, I do think that Tiffany Stratton has so much more ahead of her that she can afford to not win it this particular year. Overall, I think Tiffany Stratton is top to bottom the most ready, other than Braun Breaker, the most ready women's. Oh my goodness, I messed that up. I'm sorry. All right, we got it. I think Tiffany Stratton was the woman from NXT that was the most ready to really excel, and it showed. I mean, you see her connect with the audience like this. Now, my thing is how long are they going to keep her heel? Because she's getting more and more popular with the fans, and the more she is, the more popularity she gains, the more you're going to have to feed into that popularity and turn her face. I say keep her heel for now, but tread lightly because these fans are starting to really get behind her. But yeah, Chelsea Green, in my opinion, is 1000% the lady here to go on and win Miss Money in the Bank. I don't think it should really be that big of a deal, quite frankly, for Triple H to really, hammer home the fact that Chelsea Green can be Miss Money in the Bank. It gets her into the title picture very quickly without having to build her up. I think doing this makes too much sense. Next, we have what I think should co-main event Money in the Bank, the Bloodline versus Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. Now, the thing about this match, I don't think it's a question that the Bloodline should win. I think if you want to establish the Bloodline as a threat, you need to have them win in this stage. Now, the problem becomes who takes the pin, because Kevin Owens has taken multiple pins from the Bloodline. Randy Orton already got pinned by Carmelo Hayes this month. Are we going to have him get pinned again? And then Cody Rhodes is your champ. So who takes the pin if the Bloodline win? Well, this is where it gets a little spicy, ladies and gentlemen. I do think the Bloodline win, and I think Cody Rhodes should be the one to take the pin. Hear me out. Look, they're clearly building for Solo Sikoa over Cody Rhodes. My bad. Look, hear me out. Solo Sikoa is clearly in line to fight for the title. He wants the title, okay? If you want to validate him as a main event player, in my humble opinion, you gotta have him pin the champ. And I know it sounds crazy because Solo Sikoa this entire time has been losing and all of a sudden he's going to start to win. That makes no sense. You're absolutely right, it doesn't. However, as you guys have seen throughout the months, they're trying to build him back up, and they've done a good job doing so because everybody everybody's really reacting to him the way that he wasn't really getting a reaction before. He's crowned himself the head of the table. He's power bombed the wise man. He's done everything he can to get heat on him, and it's working. You want to know how you get more heat on him? You have him pin the champ, and you have him challenge at SummerSlam. Right now, Solo Sikoa is headlining one of the biggest storylines in wrestling history with the Bloodline storyline. You want to validate him as a main event player? I think at Money in the Bank, you do that. At Money in the Bank, you have Solo Sikoa pin the champ Cody Rhodes, and you validate him as a main event player. Solo Sikoa needs this. Let's face it. If you want to really, treat him like a threat, you have to have him pin somebody that matters. And having him pin the champ is a great way to really establish that. The same thing happened with Jey Uso last year at Money in the Bank. When he pinned the champ, he got a title match right after. I think now is a perfect time for you to really establish Solo Sikoa and have him pin the champ. And in doing that, you can... My bad. And in doing that, you can really accelerate the Bloodline storyline, and so that way when Roman Reigns returns, you got 3 main event players at SummerSlam. Next, what we have is the main event of Money in the Bank, in my opinion, Damian Priest versus Seth freaking Rollins. Now, this is going to come to a surprise to most people. I think a lot of people really do want Seth Rollins versus Gunther. I think it makes sense for that. However, I'm actually of the mind that Damian Priest shouldn't lose this match at all. And as a matter of fact, I think he should win this match, and I think he should win clean. Here's why. Damian Priest right now is, yes, caught in the middle of the Judgment Day storyline. And I think that's great. I think eventually it's going to be awesome to really see the Judgment Day crumble. However, I don't think you should have Seth Rollins have a 1-month title reign just to pass it to Gunther. I don't think Triple H believes in transitional champions. And I don't think Seth Rollins is a transitional champion. I think he's a real deal champion. There's no way you can have him hold the belt for a month and then have him just lose to Gunther the next SummerSlam. Unless you have him win against Gunther, in which case I think that would be a mistake. With that being said, Damian Priest should beat Seth Rollins clean as a whistle. Clean as a whistle, let me tell you. I know it really, really questions what about Seth Rollins? Seth Rollins is at a point of his career where he can eat as many pins as he wants. As long as you have him winning consistently after he eats those pins, he'll be fine. Look, Seth Rollins is a main event player to the very end. But just because you're a main event player doesn't mean you're not going to take some pins every once in a while. Cody Rhodes on the road to WrestleMania took a pin to Drew McIntyre. And look what that did for Drew McIntyre's career. I think Damian Priest needs to win clean here to really validate his title reign. Forget the Judgment Day. He's not going to have the Judgment Day involved. He's going to win clean so that when he faces Gunther's going to take it from a beast. Gunther's going to take it from yes, is it a heel? 1,000%. However, I think Gunther at the end of the day, taking it from a champ that beat Seth freaking Rollins, that's going to mean something at the end of the day. And I think Gunther at this stage of his career, or rather Damian Priest at this stage of his career, has proven that he can be a main event caliber guy. You can keep him in the main event. But in order for that to happen, I feel like I don't think you should have him lose to Seth Rollins and then Seth Rollins lose in a month to Gunther. I don't think that's how it should operate. Damian Priest in this title reign has been phenomenal. On the mic, in the ring, he's been great. Let's call it what it is. I think if you want to really elevate it, you have him beat Seth Rollins at the main event clean. And whatever happens after, happens after. But I think in this case, Damian Priest deserves a clean title win in his resume. I think that's what's going to happen this Saturday. And I won't be surprised when it does, because Damian Priest needs this win, in my opinion. I don't think Seth Rollins does. Seth Rollins can afford the loss. He can afford it. He's a legend. Damian Priest, I feel like if he loses clean, it invalidates his entire title reign, and I don't want that for Damian Priest whatsoever. So with that, I end with this. This Money in the Bank is going to be very, very important for a lot of storylines. The Bloodline storyline, the Judgment Day storyline. Hell, we might even get the Wyatt Six storyline in here. Regardless, I do trust that they are going to make this make sense and not overbook the hell out of this, because there's a lot of cases where you can really just make it absolute chaos and it becomes a mess. And overbooked messes should only come at the very height of PLEs, like a WrestleMania 40 Night 2. But for a Money in the Bank, I don't think that should be the case. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Please look at our description at Vivid Seats. Get your tickets now. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Fight Pit here at WWE. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time.